So yesterday I was at the Brooklyn Marriott last night and I got the news that Whitney Houston passed away. I haven't really processed that just yet, but I grew up with her and she's 48, like she died younger than my pops. So I mean, the only other death that really affected me like this was Aaliyah. And yeah, I don't know what else to say other than I'm gonna be on my Whitney shit hard for the next like 6 months, because the greats go too soon, period.
At about 6 p.m. yesterday, I was in BBQ's eating some really dry rotisserie chicken and yellow rice when I look up to the TV and across the screen it says, Whitney Houston has died at 48. I was actually shocked. I was actually on a, like a date, and it kind of killed the mood because the individual I was with, I don't think she even really, believed or understood how serious I took that at that particular moment. We were supposed to be, having fun. And, that affected me greatly. The only other death that, has affected me like to a severe was Michael Jackson, which we all know. But Whitney is definitely in that category of like, I really can't believe that this has actually happened. So it was a sad, a sad moment for me. I love Whitney from the 80s to the 90s. She's definitely the original queen of pop. There is no denying that. Statistically, she started it definitely in the early 80s. My favorite Whitney Houston song is You Give Good Love, which is actually one of her early hits in the 80s. I was just sitting here, singing a couple of her hits, and they were laughing at me, but, I'm a young dude, I'm only 25, and I could really sing a lot of her lyrics, from beginning to end. And like I said, I'm a dude, and I have no problem with admitting that. Like, I grew up with Whitney Houston, The Bodyguard. I remember watching The Bodyguard, faithfully on HBO and Cinemax with my grandmother every time it came on, from beginning to end. So, it's just, my heart goes out to, her family and her daughter and, everybody, and R.I.P., Whitney Houston.
I think the funniest part is they say you always remember where you're at when something happens. And I remember where I was at when Michael died, so I remember I went to TMZ, so when someone texted me and said that Whitney died, I had to go to TMZ, because they're like the new CNN. And I'm always gonna remember that I was standing in the kitchen, like, making salmon cakes, frying them, trying to look at CNN and process like exactly what was going on. It's sad because, I mean, someone like when Biggie died, that was sad too, and I had put up this little memorial thing for him. And then, my mom always asked me, like, why did you do that? And it's kind of like, I grew up on him, so when it happened, it was weird. But the funny part is, like, I can say the same for Whitney, because she had, so many different stages in her music career that we grew to know Whitney. And then, she had the reality show, and so it's sad, and, but somebody with so many hits and talent, it's sad.